The Xbox 360 was a generation-defining console, and whether it be for the good or for the bad, it affected or influenced us all in some way. So I thought it'd be fun to take a little time here today to look at 5 games that define the Xbox 360 as a console, cementing its identity in the hails of gaming for all time. And I'm not alone here today. I was able to put an all-star cast of creators together, 4 awesome creators. All their links will be below. You should be checking out all their channels that are super passionate about each game they decided to choose to talk about here today. So let's check it out.
Hey everyone, Dr. Scott from the Game Closet here. While the Xbox 360 had 20 titles at launch on November 22nd, 2005, there weren't any launch titles that were earth-shattering. Sure, Gun was a great Western game that was also available on previous gen consoles, and Call of Duty 2 was a good World War II title. Not like we hadn't seen that before. But it really wasn't until November 7th, 2006 that the Xbox 360 owners were given something truly 7th gen. Something fast, gritty, raw, and in your face. A third-person shooter unlike anything that had really come before it, and it would only be rivaled by Halo 1 and 2 in its storytelling. It had warmongering antagonists and over-the-top heroes that we hadn't seen since John 117, the Master Chief, took aim at fans on the Macintosh and original Xbox. Of course, the game I'm talking about is Gears of War. Bring it! Yes, Marcus Phoenix sure did bring it. He and his best friend and fellow COG Commando Dominic Santiago led the charge against a subterranean race called the Locust Horde. They came to surface on their planet Serra on what became to be known as Emergence Day. Epic Games brought us Gears of War, and it changed the gaming landscape as we knew it because now there was a new big boy on the playing field. Gears of War introduced the popular cover-based shooting mechanic where players can use objects in the environment to shield themselves from enemy fire. The Gears of War series is renowned for its graphic violence and over-the-top action sequences. Gears' signature weapon is a powerful assault rifle known as the Lancer. It's as powerful as it is intimidating with its ability to shoot medium to long distances with little recoil, and for up-close encounters, there is a chainsaw attached to slice through flesh, bone, and pretty much whatever else comes into contact with it. Back in your hole! Yes, Marcus, back in their hole indeed. The games feature a compelling narrative that explores the conflict between humanity and a monstrous alien race known as the Locust Horde. Gears of War also offered split-screen co-op, unlike other franchises in 2024. That's right, keep on roasting, honey, because you deserve it. And Gears of War offered a couple of different competitive multiplayer modes as well. As of November 7th, 2008, Gears of War had sold 5.88 million copies worldwide. This impressive sales figure solidified the game's position as a major success for both Epic Games and for the Xbox 360 console. Gears has spawned 4 direct sequel games, a few spin-off games, and very soon, the Coalition, Gears' new caretaker, may be bringing us Gears 6, and hopefully it won't be the misstep that Gears 5 was. Whoops. The storylines have been captivating, the action raw, and yes, I cried as did others during Gears of War 2 and Gears of War 3 when, well, I don't want to ruin that for you if you haven't played them, but trust me, you will love the storyline as well as the gameplay. If there is one guy in the gaming universe that can give this man a run for his money, it's that man right there. But I know they're on the same side as we are, and well, there is one thing Marcus knows how to do. He knows how to bring it!
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Rad Bash from Down Select. Special shout out to my homie Mysticles for having me on this collab. Now, we're supposed to talk about games that define the Xbox 360. And if you watch our channel, you'll know that I'm a huge horror fan. So I, of course, had to talk about a game called Dead Rising. Let's jump right into it. So, Dead Rising. I absolutely love Dead Rising. I got to play it again not long ago when I streamed it, and this was the PS4 version, but I grew up with this on the 360. For those who don't know what Dead Rising is, you play as journalist Frank West, and you head to Willamette, Colorado to investigate an outbreak of some kind. You don't know what's going on, and then you find out it's the zombie apocalypse, because why wouldn't it be? But while you're there, not only do you fight zombies, but you fight deranged people who've just lost their mind. There's a clown with dual chainsaws. Explain that to me in logic, because I don't understand that one. There's a Vietnam vet who's running around the, Lowe's store. and like hanging bodies and stuff. This game is gruesome. It is dark. Now, I will say it hasn't aged the best, and I think that's why, if you didn't know, they did go and remaster it for the PS5 and updated the graphics and everything, and it looks beautiful. I haven't had a chance to check that version out yet, but it still looks amazing. So the original was a little clunky. It hasn't aged the best, I will say that, but I still think going back and playing it is still a blast. Like I said, I did stream it not long ago, and while I did notice some issues, it was still an amazing game. And honestly, this game defined the Xbox 360 for me. This game is why I fell in love with horror so much. I think back to when I first played this. My buddy Joey and I can't tell you how old we were, I don't remember. We were young, shouldn't have been playing this game when we did, but we rented it from Blockbuster, and we're at the part where you're about to fight Adam the Clown, and the power in the mall just shuts off. All the lights go out, and you just hear the zombie moans, and then here comes Adam with his dual chainsaws. That was scary as hell, but it was amazing. I absolutely loved it, and I couldn't think of another, perfect Xbox 360 game to play. So if you haven't played Dead Rising, again, it is a zombie apocalypse, third-person action. It's just crazy. It's gory, it's bloody, it's amazing. I love this game. If you're a horror fan, please go check it out. It is Capcom at its finest. There you have it. Have you played Dead Rising? Have you checked out the Dead Rising remake? Let us know down below in the comments. Again, Mysticles, thank you for having me on, brother. I really appreciate it. You guys can find me over on Down Select. Take care, everybody.
What's going on, nerd geeks and gamers alike? It's your boy Nerdy Nick, and I'm here to talk about Halo 3. Halo 3 is one of the most innovative video games, literally, of all time. It's classic, the story is absolutely trailblazing as well, and the world building is just peak. The storytelling is amazing, and honestly, Halo could have ended with 3. Had it not been for 343 coming in and continuing on the legacy with Halo 4 and so on. I think when we all think back to Halo and it's just enormous lore and gameplay design and just all the awesome hardcore memories that we all have of playing the game, we just think to an awesome, excellent time. And honestly, I think the Halo series in general, or franchise, definitely hit a solid peak with Halo 3, but that's not to say games like Halo Infinite aren't awesome either, or the Master Chief Collection, now that it's actually good, are bad games. They're great games too, but Halo 3 just came at a time when anything was possible in gaming, and our horizons were just so broadened with what could be possible with the likes of the Xbox 360 and the PS3 at the time. There's nothing like a night getting back home, Halo 3 brand new from GameStop, throwing that disc into your Xbox 360, and just getting your freaking mind blown and having the time of your life with your buddies online as well. And that's another thing too that really speaks to the strengths of Halo 3 is the online multiplayer. Sure, Call of Duty was fun, but have you played Halo 3? You know what I mean? That was one of the things that always was a debate. What's more fun, Halo 3 or Call of Duty Modern Warfare? You know, it was just always a debate. But I think Halo 3 is just amazing. It is so much fun to play. The commercials and advertisements, dude. Oh my gosh. Even the little short from Neil Blomkamp, the live action short, was amazing. And at the time, there was a Halo movie in production with Peter Jackson to direct. So that kind of gave you a little taste of what was possible with a Halo movie. Unfortunately, we got the series that came out on Paramount Plus. Do not recommend, and thankfully, it's been canceled. But the weapon design and environments and everything in Halo 3 really hit its stride and took off. And, you have encounters with the Gravemind, the Covenant, Flood. I just don't know if there's a more complete game out there than Halo 3. The hype was absolutely legit for Halo 3. The launch was absolutely nuts. I think the world was ready for Halo 3 and all it had to experience. I think one of my favorite levels on multiplayer especially is the big desert area where there's the giant elephant like tank thing. I don't really know what you would like, a mobile base almost. It's a really great time, man. So many good memories, and I look back on that series fondly, especially Halo 3. So Mystically, thank you so much for having me on to talk quickly about Halo 3 and all the goodness that came with that franchise.
Hey, Johnny Graphics here. Now, the Xbox 360 had a lot of great games, but if you want to talk about games that really defined it, and games that really pushed the envelope for that system, as well as for its genre and arguably gaming as a whole, I don't think you can have that conversation without bringing up Mass Effect. Back around this time, 2006, 2007, somewhere in there, games were really starting to be able to bring massive experiences to the fore. Games with real combat depth, characters that felt truly deep and moldable, and stories that had real impact on the player. Yeah, there were a lot of games before that dabbled in these areas, but Mass Effect really brought a lot of these disparate things that were developing in different genres all together for one super complete, massive package. So it was a fantastic game in that respect on its own, but as part of the 360 library, it did a lot to set that system apart from what Nintendo and Sony were doing at the time. Even after those games eventually found their way to the PS3, and I think you can play the remastered ones on the Switch now, but even still, it just feels very Microsoft coded, as the kids would say. This wasn't just a really good action sci-fi game with RPG elements. I mean, this was a full-blown RPG with, sci-fi action game elements that really, I think that's what made it click so well with mainstream audiences, and I think that's why it had such a big impact on the Xbox 360 generally. The massive dialogue trees and the branching paths, and, not to mention the way that your results could impact the second game, and the way those results could impact the third game. It just really came together as this huge, amazing thing, and I think that's why people get away with calling it a space opera. Even though that phrase kind of sounds a little over the top, I think it's fair to describe it that way, honestly. Now, by today's standards, the action in the original Mass Effect, yeah, it's a little bit rough. Even by the standards of its time, I think the action is a little bit rough. But again, it got so much else right, and so right, that, some clunky action here and there is pretty easy to forgive. This was another one of those games that just ran better on the 360 despite the PS3 being a more powerful console in a lot of ways, at least on paper. Anyway, I could go on all day about, different things that made Mass Effect a really big win for the Xbox scene at that time, but I think it's pretty clear why. It was just a really good game. It took advantage of the Xbox 360, and while I strongly suspect the Mass Effect heyday is long gone, I have zero faith in any future entries whatsoever, and neither should you at this point. There's a lot there to celebrate. I think all three games hold up pretty well, all things considered, especially if you play the new remastered versions, and it's easy to see why they were such a big deal at the time, and why they were so helpful for adding a nice little bit of variety to the Xbox 360's lineup. Anyway, thanks Mysticles for having me on the channel. I'm always happy to drop in and bloviate about whatever you're talking about. And if you want to see me bloviate about other stuff, feel free to check out my channel, of course. But before we do that, let's watch the rest of this video.
And last but not least on this list, Fable 2. Releasing in October in 2008, Fable 2 was a highly anticipated game, selling almost 1 million copies within the first 10 days of release. It would also go on to win Best of from IGN, XPlay, and many others that year. It would also be nominated for Best of Action Adventure of 2009. Being a beautiful game at its time, and still to this day, and even better if you're playing it on Xbox One or Series X via Game Pass, Fable 2's greatest strength is actually how immersive this game is. Having you start off as a small child who grows up through tragedy and adversity. It's done in a very enjoyable, non-dull or tedious way that I actually felt made a really great character build-up. If I had to explain the land of Albion in 3 words, it'd be gorgeous, convincing, and balanced. The outdoor areas don't feel big and empty, and the small areas and the indoor town areas don't feel oversaturated. The towns to the swamps, I was happy with how much was in each area and how long it ultimately took me to either beat it up or get to it, and how much it affected the menu of my quest, and how much it seemed realistic that it would even be there. A very well thought out and balanced game, that I feel like really made it more enjoyable to the masses because of its balanced nature. And Fable 2 didn't just stop at improving on existing mechanics like the side jobs and alignment system. They offered new mechanics like the guns, the dog, the bread trail mechanic, Pioneer, the bread trail mechanic. Fable 2 was cutting edge and defined its genre and its generation at the time. Combine all this with compelling and comical storytelling and an easy to understand leveling system where it's actually really fun to grind and get experience, you get a masterpiece of a title that's super fun and really enjoyable for all kinds of different people. And it has a sense of style and charm that only the legendary development team, Lionhead Studios, could deliver. And on a personal note, the Xbox 360 and Fable 2 is special to me for many, many reasons. But one especially important one is one summer my brother got into a real bad car accident and broke his right femur. So he was stuck in a hospital bed in our parents' house for like 6 months. And during that time, the beginning of that time, I don't remember if Fable 2 had just came out or anything like that, but he had gotten a 360 with Fable 2. And I remember endless hours of us playing Fable 2, grinding it out, you know what I mean, night after night, getting all kinds of money to buy the castle. Like, I'll always remember those times, brother. And Fable 2 is an important game to me for those reasons. So that's all we got for the 360 here today, but all consoles across time have many, many defining games, and if you'd like to see this mini-series continued into the future, whether it be through collabs or solo presentation, let me know in the comments. You know, it's a very interesting topic and a fun one to look back on. So everybody, Scott, Nick, Rad Bash, you know, Johnny, thanks a lot for coming along for this. It was a long one, you know, in the works, Scott, you know, and I'm happy we got it out there because there's something that was on the back burner for me for a long time, and we all, you know, really, really passionate and love the 360 when it came out and to this day, and like talking about it now. So big things, guys. Thanks for coming out and doing that. I really appreciate it. Taking your time out of your busy schedule. And like I said, if there's something you'd like to see continued in the future, you know, we can do all the different consoles across time. So just put it in the comments below. And stick around for the channel because next up we're going to be doing an unboxing from from Double Jump Games and $100 Sega CD, Sega Saturn box. And it shouldn't be too long for it's out. I already got the box. So it's going to be a fun one. I enjoy it. So until next time, everybody, I'm Mysticles. Stay safe out there.